Welcome back, legends and legendettes. So much has happened this week, and so let's quickly do a quick market update. So kicking it off with the Bitcoin price action, we can see how actually we got that breakout. And we were in this compression here for a very, very long time in Bitcoin. And as you can imagine, if you're going to keep banging on a ceiling, eventually you can break out. And we can see here particularly how, from a macro point of view, there was actually very little in the way, really, after this breakdown, once the Terra Luna collapse happened. So from 38, 39k down to 32k. And so as you can imagine, if something dumps quickly, it leaves a lot of imbalances. So what I mean by that is, imbalances means essentially like fair value gaps. So when you have a huge selling, you often there's gaps between the wicks. So you can see between like a wick here and a wick here, there's a gap. And often these gaps get filled. And so what goes down quickly will come back up quickly, usually, long story short. And that's what we got. And then we could really see between this zone really to roughly 39k, there's very little there. And so far we're well actually above them. So I've drawn this trend line actually from 2019 high. And we've got a couple of touch points here, here. And so yes, we could probably get a move up to here. Just this 2022 open. So this is around 46.2k. One thing to always be aware about is your own echo chamber and biases, especially influenced by social media. The thing is, a lot of people are calling for 48k now. Of course, we thought about this back when we were at 16, 20k, 24k. But the thing is, you have to always be aware of when too many people are thinking the same thing. So of course, engagement and social media is only one aspect. But for me personally, for my spot, it's from 15.8 and 16.1. And so I'm selling off, been scaling out really. So at 31.8, some at 24.8. And my next one is going to be at 46.2k. So I'm slightly front running it. For me, in the grand scheme of things, 1 or 2k doesn't make a huge difference. And it's about, I'm going to use those profits to scale back in. We've just been up only for a long time, and especially when the long-short ratio is heavily skewed in favor of net shorts, especially open interest was increasing. That just overall suggests there's more fuel for the upside. Because as we know, market makes the fools out of the majority. So yeah, technically there's very little on the way to 48k, but that doesn't mean I'm just going to buy here. I'm just going to be in the sidelines. So in terms of active positions, I'm still in the swing trade for Ethereum particularly. The first 5 take profits already been hit, and we're actually almost at take profit 6 now actually. And again, this setup was given in real time. What we need to notice is that there's a bit of a macro channel here. So first touch point here, second one here, first 2 touch points here. Then we got third one here. And so now we're actually well above this channel, which is nice. And so we're almost now hit take profit 6. And so again, I've been scaling out. And yeah, I wouldn't go long here, but it's still bullish until proven otherwise. Something to also consider is you want to always check the ETH to Bitcoin dominance. Because yes, Bitcoin could be going up in terms of dollar value and ETH could be going up, but how much is Ethereum really going up relative to Bitcoin? And this is why we look at this, and we can see why this bleed in ETH to Bitcoin dominance. And so now, obviously what goes down eventually goes up at one point, but now we've had a retracement. We had this bleed here as well, and then we have a retracement. So maybe ETH gets another move back to this trend line. And so now Bitcoin has moved up so much, perhaps it just lets off some steam, maybe some altcoins start pumping. So we'll see about that as well. In terms of other setups, I mean, this AVAX long gave up in real time. The beauty is that it shows patience is so important because this entry is from 12.81. I'm just letting it run. My next take profit, you could say, is actually near this local resistance here. You could take some profit take there. But structurally, actually for AVAX, there's very little on the way really after we break this to 52k. Because what we noticed in 2021 is when we actually ran up here, we bounced off this zone so many times. And past support can sometimes be future resistance. So looking now at more traditional finance, we got this oil setup actually, and we took the short. And particularly here, this was a head and shoulder pattern. I mean, head and shoulder patterns are never usually this perfect. Sometimes it can be 2 right shoulders, sometimes it can be 2 heads, etc., etc. And this is an example of how it worked out. The actual target really is 68k, 69k roughly. And so we've hit take profit 2 now. And so just letting it run, it's pretty much risk-free trade now. So especially we're talking about this in the community as well as gold. And we had this couple of highs from a macro point of view. We had this high here, and a high here. And this was an example of a false breakout. You can see actually this was quite a psychological level. Everyone's paying attention to this. But when you actually go down, especially in the 15-minute time frame, what you see is particularly, this was this type of more of a complex false breakout. Because sometimes you get a move above. And what happens generally is that when you get a move above like this, and it spends a bit more time above, there's a lot more time for liquidity to grab. And so with these kind of false breakout tend to be a lot more violent once you go back into the range. You often have those very simple ones where it's just a wick, but this one just moved back out and moved back down a bit slower. But once you actually went back into the range, this move here was quite violent. And this is an example of that. It's not to say we can't go further up. In fact, I would expect actual new highs eventually, maybe Q4 or later on next year. Yes, we've had this initial false breakout, and nothing goes up the straight line, but it seems that perhaps we might get a retrace maybe to 2k at this point, and that might be a rough bounce region. And then we'll see if we have new highs. Something to also consider as well is there seems to be a beginning of a bit of formation. In general, I don't take patterns that seriously, but it's something I look at once in a while. But you can see here, because for example, this is a shoulder here. This is a head here, and this is another shoulder. And so from this point of view, what is the actual target? And again, this is from a macro point of view. You cannot expect a move like this within one day. So if I actually check the measured move, it goes to roughly 2.3, 2.4K, 2.5K. And so again, this never happens in a straight line, and there are going to be pullbacks, but this is something to really be aware of as well. Looking actually now at SPX, so the US 500, we can actually see how we had this huge run up here. We actually left this imbalance, so fair value gap, and this happened. And for actual 3-4 weeks, we've been stuck in this mini channel here. We're bouncing out. We actually had some unemployment numbers yesterday on Thursday, and we had this breakdown below it, but then we actually closed back up. And in the grand scheme of things, the unemployment numbers yesterday wasn't too important, but today we have slightly more important unemployment numbers, so the NFP. We'll see how the actual NFP unemployment numbers actually affect the price action. Perhaps this might lead to the breakdown below the lower end of this channel, and that can lead to a move back down to recover this gap. With these things, you never know exactly when it's going to happen. Eventually, it does happen at one point. Or we could just be stuck in this range again, all the way till the end of the year. So these are just some things that I'm really paying attention to. And of course, do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And please do put comments in the comment section for any specific video requests. And I'll be more than happy to make videos on requested topics.